So how did you get involved in this anyway as part of God's Child Project? How did you get involved in the human trafficking aspect of it?
We got involved with human trafficking back in 2001. I was over in Africa. I was working. We have an orphanage over there, 2,000 orphan kids. I was in the village in the middle of the night, and all of a sudden people came up banging on the door, and they said, the transporters are here, the transporters are here. And I thought it was a bus line.
Right.
So I just opened up to see what all the commotion was, but there were great big cattle trucks and people with guns. They were separating out the women and the adolescent children and putting them in the back of the cattle truck against their will, and the men were having to stand off to the side. As the trucks drove away, then we got into our really cheap, Audi or whatever it was, and tried to go down these rural roads in Malawi. But these cattle trucks, which are six-wheelers, were just pouring ahead at 65, 70 miles an hour down these dirt roads.
Right.
We didn't have a chance of even getting close to them. What I found out later is that it's very common for countries in the Mid-East that are short on labor or short of people who want to do the hard, physical, dirty work to contract a boat, go down the coast of Africa, dock in Kenya, Mombasa, or Port of Mozambique, which was this case, and go into the villages and round up slave labor. Now, I thought this happened back in the 1830s.
Right, yeah.
This was 2001.
Wow.
And they put them in the back of the cattle truck. They take them back to the port of Mozambique, in this case, put them in the ship, and took them up to Saudi Arabia, Dubai, United Arab Emirates, Afghanistan, where they have the fields. They have camel jockeys. They have the need. They don't have the need. They have the desire, for prostitutes and domestics who ultimately become household prostitutes. I didn't know this existed. I researched it. I came back stunned, couldn't breathe, couldn't believe what I had seen. And I said, nobody knows this exists. Everybody thinks slavery stopped with the Civil War.
Right.
We are going to do what we can to channel the resources of the God's Child Project here at home as well as internationally to say very basically, no man, no woman, no child should be a slave in today's world.
But that's a scary thing to try to combat. The people that run those things are very scary, mean, bad people.
Oh, they run drugs. Their profit margin. If someone is going to look at your sister or your daughter or your son and think of them as nothing more than a piece of meat, a commodity, ready to be bought and sold, these people have no soul.
No.
Okay, they are the coldest. It would be nothing for them to take out a victim of human trafficking who has become a risk or a liability, and basically, shall we use the euphemism, put them to sleep.
Yeah.
In the same sense that if I had a horse in a field or a mule or a cow and it broke its leg and it became sick and it was putting at risk the rest of the herd, I might put it down. When children are runaways, and again, everyone listening, don't let your boys and girls run away.
Yeah.
Listen to them. And if you're not connecting, put them in touch with someone who does connect. Don't let them run away. There are trained predators on the streets.
Yeah.
We're not talking New York City.
No.
We're talking Bismarck, Fargo, Minneapolis, Denver. There are trained predators on the street who are looking for runaways, looking for people walking with a certain swagger and cockiness and a false sense of confidence, not really knowing where they're going.
Right.
They will spot you immediately, and they will victimize you. What you want to do is not ever let your son, your daughter, or a friend of theirs run away.
That's scary.
I was going somewhere with that, and
well, it is scary. So, what can people do? What can the average person do to help you guys out in your efforts towards human trafficking?
Biggest thing that somebody can do is, first of all, who do you love, and who should you love? Your son, your daughter, your brother, your sister, your children's friends. Okay, there are a lot of lonely and hurt boys and girls and high school kids around here who need to realize that somebody cares. And I don't mean that in the esoteric sense. I mean, seriously, suicide rates are soaring.
Yeah.
Because people feel frustrated, terribly alone, and isolated, even though they might have 1,500 Facebook friends. I mean, I think you have, what, Stacy, 5,000 or something?
No, it's only like 2,500.
I think it's a world record.
But then also, too, online bullying is becoming a big deal. Cyberbullying.
Online bullying, cyberbullying, and as people establish their sense of self stronger and more in their life as part of their online personality, they're becoming isolated. So who do you love, or who should you love? And listen to them. Talk to them. If you can't connect, look at your children's friends. is one of those boys or girls lonely?
Mm-hmm.
And kids, listen, don't be afraid to talk to someone. Don't be afraid to call us in the God's Child Project and just say, you know what, I need a place to volunteer. I have time on my hands. I want something to do. Don't be afraid to call a minister, a priest, a pastor, a teacher, somebody, an adult who you can talk to. Your friends are your friends. Your friends don't have the life experience. Talk to an adult and connect, reconnect. Other thing we can do as adults, I mean, as listeners on URL radio, is be aware of the problem. Most people are stunned to hear that this problem of sexual slavery, forced labor, human trafficking is happening not just in today's world, but right here at home.
Yeah.
Be aware that this problem happens. Don't be afraid to talk to your children. You might very well, like just talking to them about taking a drink, setting it down at a party, picking it up again. You might very well, or in your case, accepting a drink from somebody who you really don't know.
If somebody offers to buy you a drink, walk with them to the bar and order it yourself, and then if they really want to, they will pay for it.
And if you feel the slightest bit woozy, get to the side of your friends. Don't ever go to a place alone, and don't ever stay and say, don't worry, I'll get myself home.
Yeah.
There's too much weirdness online and too much weirdness in today's world.
There is.
Know who you should love.
Yes.
Be aware of the problem, and then become part of the solution. itemp.org is the main website for the God's Child Project's International Anti-Human Trafficking Program, itemp.org. Have myself or someone else from the God's Child Project's iTemp program in to talk to your church, your school, your community group. Our talks are very age and group specific.
Okay.
So what I say to a group of university grad students is going to be vastly different than what I'm going to say in 7 minutes during a church service in Bismarck, North Dakota.
Right.
Vastly different message. We're very specific. We're very good. Contribute if you can. All of this takes donations. All of this takes work. In the God's Child Project, we've been devastated with the drop of the economy over the last couple of years. And, we're having a tough run. We have an incredible worldwide program, but we're having a tough run because of the drop of the economy. If you can help us, please do. And everybody can help in one way or another, with your time, with your gifts, with your finances, with your prayers. And when I say prayers, I mean that in the very broad focus.
General sense of a matter.
If you are Lutheran, Catholic, Presbyterian, Baptist, Universalian, Matthewist, it makes no difference.
Matthewist.
Chris Matthew is here in the studio with us today.
We have the church Chris Matthew.
I think Chris Matthew is a Matthewist, actually. God is very big and very loving and all-encompassing, but pray for the kids because they have to make the right decisions, and those decisions are going to be made at Friday night at a party at 11 o'clock, and you're not going to be there as a mother, and I'm not going to be there as a father, and it's suddenly going to be our teenage children, our young adult children, who have to make that decision on that spot. And if we are praying for them, and even more important, if they know we are praying for them and thinking about them and standing by them through good times and bad, they will have the strength they need to make the right decision because they will know they are not alone.
Very good. Patrick, you rock. If people do want to give of their money donations, how can they donate?
God'sChild.org. One of our biggest things that we're doing right now is we are looking for Christmas sponsors for our presents. For example, go to God'sChild.org/Christmas or just God'sChild.org, hit the link. You can, as a Christmas gift, why don't you give somebody the sponsorship of a day's food for Casa Jackson for malnourished infants?
Yeah.
You'll get a certificate. They'll get a certificate that says that in memory of XYZ loved one, the gift of buying this day's sponsorship of food for malnourished infants has been given in their name. Pay for a boy or girl that we can't accept into the project because we just have 5,000 right now, but there are boys and girls who want to get in. Our cost per day is about $3 per day for everything: medical care, clothing, food, education. That's 30 days. That's $100 a month.
Yeah.
Raises this child. Foster care, medical. Do we really need that $5,000 extra speaker set?
Right.
And and I'm all in favor of local business and commerce, and local businesses are some of our biggest supporters. But it's not a matter of getting what is good and what we want. It's going to that excessive extreme. Don't do that. Help others. Realize this is a very small world. Let's do what we can. We can make it better.
Very good. Thanks for coming in today, Patrick.
It's an absolute pleasure, as always, to see you. And congratulations on your new studios in beautiful downtown Bismarck.